Loud enough? Start now. I going to tell you today about anti-aircraft because it was the most exciting thing that I never saw in my whole life. Anti-aircraft is made of, or ACK ACK as it's called, is made up of machine guns, 40 millimeters, and 88s and 90 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. And the 90 millimeters are very exciting to me when I finally got over, and the blast is bigger than my airplane. They don't have to hit you, but they'll just get close. So well, we went, me and Markov flew down to one of their big bases, and it was loaded with 90 millimeters. And one of the back flights, me and Markov, and which meant they're getting better when time we get there. And a whole group of planes was bombing their field. And when I got up there with Markov, there was so much 90 millimeters, and they had so many guns that I was about 5 miles away, and it was solid black with 90 millimeters going off between me and the airfield. So I didn't see any reason for me and Markov to die over it. So I dove down and picked up a lot of speed, up more about 450, 500 miles an hour, and I peeled up with my nose above the horizon and released the bomb, and I throwed it like it was a rocket, but it was a solid 500-pound bomb. And I lined up with the runway, and I throwed it about 5 miles away, and I throwed it like a cannon shell. And then I settled back and watched it go through I didn't see it in the air, but I watched it when it went off right in the middle of their runway. So I thought it was a very good idea. So Markov, he was my wingman, so he did the same thing. And I mean to tell you, it was solid black that whole 5 miles. So many guns were firing, and the big ones. So we had a hard time getting into that area, but we throwed our bombs in there, and it went as if it was right over the field, because I hit right in the middle of their runway, and that's what I was trying to do, blow their runway up. And we flew on back to the thing, and we lived in what we call Ramu Valley, and we'd come over the mountains at 20,000 feet, and there was 2, 3, 4 big bases. There's no telling how many thousands of Japs, but there was right over the mountains was Alexhaven. The next one was Wewak, which was made up of several airfields. Then there's Hollandia, and we flew on back to Ramu Valley, and then the next day they wanted to go on this new base, and that's where all the anti-aircraft guns had moved. I guess because it seemed so many guns, I never knew they had that many. And the next day, we went over there, and we was about 6,000 feet over the field there, and wasn't as much shooting going on as I could tell. And when mine Markov's time came up again, I went into a dive at the field and saw no bullets or no shells going off in front of me. So I even strafed it with my machine guns while I'm diving to drop my bomb. And I leveled off, didn't even make no effort to dodge anything because I didn't see nothing. I went right out to sea, And when I got out there, I was all alone. Markov wasn't behind me no more. And so uh, I uh, I just flew on. I figured, well, he'd catch up with me sooner or later. And I was on my way back, and what had happened, the Japs had, just as we come over the mountains, we come into leave the jungle at the same area. And the Japs got smart, and they sat right behind the tree jungles, just in front of it. We're in the first clearing. Two 90 millimeter gun pits, and you couldn't see them if you're flying low until you're right on top of them. And when I came over to go with that bomb the first time, I was right on top of them before I even saw they was there, and so I didn't have a chance to strafe them because I didn't even know they was there, and they was prepared for us. And Stumplebeam's flight, which was over there on the left, and we both came over there, and they fired. They really surprised us. They threw a bunch of 90 millimeters at us, but as soon as I saw what it was, I started making evasive action and was successful. And we went on, and when I went to the new airfield, I was in this bomb and it run, and when I leveled off out at sea, I saw no anti-aircraft guns shooting at me, and Markov was not with me no more. So I flew on back by myself, and I'd forgot about those two secret guns they'd piled in our area, and they started firing at me. I was firing about 4,000 or 5,000 feet up, and that's their best altitude for shooting. And I'd forgot about seeing them, and they suddenly let go at me again. I was by myself, and I started evasive action and went over the jungle trees, which makes them stop sooner because the trees get in the way if I go down low. And I got off over there, and I thought, well, now that's a smart bunch of people. So I was way off way out of their range. I went up to about 6,000 feet, and I could see their gun pits, and they were all ready for me. And I lined right up with the ACK ACK pits, two pits with a cruise on them. And I dove in a slow slant, but I went down below the tree line where they couldn't see me, aimed right at them. And when I got down where they couldn't see me, and I turned to the left and went away because they could see I was coming over those trees. And I watched back there, and they just started shooting up a storm when they figured I was coming out. And I watched them shoot a bunch of guns up there. And of course, I'm back over there out of range watching them shoot at nothing. And I went back and went up to 6,000 feet again. And I looked down there where they was at. And I went and started this dive again right at them. And I leveled down, went down below the trees, and I turned away. And they timed it again, and started shooting up a storm everywhere. When I'd come out, if I went straight on, but I wasn't even there. I just watched back and watched them shoot up to all the trees. And I figured if I didn't go after them because I was by myself, and if they shot me down, I wouldn't be able to. Nobody'd ever know what happened to me. And so I finally, after I did it about 2 or 3 times, made them nervous as I could. Just watched them shoot at nothing. But they had to keep trying because they didn't know when I was going to come out and really be there. And so I just kept doing it till I kept made them so nervous. They finally abandoned both gun pits. It went into the jungle and left their guns there. And Stumplebeam's flight come back about that time, and they're sent to two secret anti-aircraft pits with no crews on them, and they shot them all up real bad because there wasn't nothing to worry about with their crews gone. And I went on back home and landed there, and then Stumplebeam come in and said he found the guns, but there wasn't no crews on them. I just got a big kick out of it. And I saw Barkov. I said, "What happened to you?" He said, "You was diving down, not making no action and strafing, and there was so many guns going off trying to follow me down. They was going off behind me, and I couldn't see them going off. And Barkov had to pull out, keep from getting blown out of the air behind me. So that's the reason he wasn't with me when I came back, because the, I thought the guns weren't firing, but they undoubtedly they were, but they was trying to follow me in my dive, and they was shooting past me back where he was at. And he ended up with Stumplebeam's flight and shot up the anti-aircraft guns when they came over with the crews abandoned, and they left it. But that is what I call getting even without being out even in danger whatsoever. Is that well enough? Well, that's that whole story.